My name is Matt Bruback, and I'm with Lend a Hand Home Care. Lend a Hand's the longest standing home care agency here in Reno. Started in 1992, switched hands, different company, new ownership, I should say, about 5 years ago. And so one of the things Lend a Hand does, I'd like to say best, is we take care of our caregivers. We provide the most training and overall, we provide insurance for them. I'd like to say we provide them the best pay locally. I know that that's changing. The average rate for home care these days is about $37 to $39. There's a couple other agencies that are $42 to $45, but the industry is pretty straightforward in regards to where we're going. Obviously, there's been inflation and everything's going up. So Lend a Hand Home Care, we have 4-hour minimums, 12 hours per week. And so in the past, we used to accept any kind of hours, and that put a little stress on our caregivers. And so the new ownership changed that with a focus to try to take care of our caregivers to ensure that we continue to have the best. Let me see. So a lot of wonderful information here in regards to home care. So the number one goal is to try to keep you in your house as long as possible. It's been proven that the longer you can stay in your home, it's just healthier for you mentally. So we do a lot of different services in regards to cooking, cleaning. Obviously, that includes meal prep, changing linens. We can do a lot of people who come out of surgeries, maybe broke a shoulder or aren't as mobile. We can assist with transfers and bathing and do a lot of things like that. We can even do pet care. Grocery shopping, we can take you to appointments. So home care really, when you're in need, because we all have families that are super busy, and it's typically the kids who call us versus, the parents calling us. It's like, we just got back from the holidays and, grandma needs some help. So I do, like I mentioned when I first came up here, I started this seminar. And my goal was to find the best providers in the community. And so everyone who's speaking today, I'd like to say are the best. And why are they the best? Because they will refer you out to a company that can assist you. Every company's different. We all have different policies. So the goal, obviously, is to provide the best care. And I'd like to say the companies here today do that. But also it's a matter of being a resource. So when you, we have I think one more speaker before we go to lunch, and then we have, next time I'll bring breakfast. I apologize about that. But one of the things is make sure before you leave today that you grab our magnet, that you throw this on your refrigerator. This has every resource. And if these people can't help you, they will redirect you to someone who can help you. I do believe that is the most important thing. That is the value of having a partnership. These people have my back. And that's one thing that's nice. Like I said, I've been in the industry for about a year. And it's nice to feel like you're a part of a team. So any questions in regards to home care services? Yes?
What's your background before you came to Lend a Hand? What kind of work did you do?
So I played professional baseball for 9 years for the Cubs, Pirates, Padres, and Baltimore Orioles. Ended my career to help special needs children. I did that. I created a sensory aid that improved balance and coordination for children with sensory deficits, so autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome. Did that for 15 years. Moved here to be closer to my family because my mom started having signs of onset dementia. And then I was the executive director of a nonprofit. I was a town manager for Genoa. So who's been to Candy Dance? I got to manage that. That was insanity. 40,000 people, 300 vendors. But when this opportunity arose, it just kind of felt right. It's one of those things in life you just, I didn't question it. So I do appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Do you have a scale as far as what your services are, as far as your payment? You've thrown out a number before, $40-something.
Yeah.
And that $40-something is for what?
Yeah, so $37 is our initial, and that's for companion care, respite care.
What does that mean?
And that means having a caregiver present for someone who might have dementia or Parkinson's, or just someone who just needs someone there. We had a client the other day contacted us because the husband hadn't gone hunting for 10 years, and so he needed his time, and so brought in a caregiver just to be present.
So it's companionship.
So that's the first, and once we hit 3 activities of daily living or 3 ADLs, it gets to 39. And the 37 and 39, that really is the standard in Reno.
And that's per hour?
That's per hour. For us, for Lend a Hand Home Care, it's a 4-hour minimum per shift.
That 39 includes everything that's listed there?
Yes, sir.
Oh.
Yeah, the only thing we can't do, so caregivers are not skilled nurses. And so we can't do any kind of wound care. I mean, a vet's gonna come up and talk about that. We can't give medication, but we can do med reminders. We can clean catheters, but we can't actually insert. So there's just some minor things that our caregivers can't do. Yes, ma'am.
Does your organization or business do like short-term? Somebody has needs help for 2 weeks because they have a knee operation.
Yes, ma'am. We do that all the time. Yeah, 2 weeks. We have we do a minimum, I would say, probably a week, 12 hours to get started. But it's shoot, the other day we flew to New York City to pick up a client and bring them back. So we will adjust to your schedule. So, next time if it's in Europe, I might attend with the caregiver and have some pizza. Yes, miss.
So I have a question. You have an Alzheimer's dementia patient, and say you have care. Is it the same person or only maybe one or two? Because they don't do well with strangers.
Right, yeah, that's a great question. So we try to keep the same caregiver as long as possible. And obviously people have issues in their lives, cars break down, people get sick, but the goal is to keep it as consistent as possible because that is very important to have the same caregiver. Yes, you had a question?
What kind of qualifications do you require, or do you have training?
Yeah, so there's a lot of training that goes into it. I know there's a lot of dementia care training, Parkinson's training. We even have a cultural competency training that we undergo. Everyone in the office, including myself. And so, yeah, I'd like to say we have the most. Yes, ma'am.
So do you bill the insurance of Medicare?
So Medicare, that's one thing about most of the agencies. The government does not pay enough to cover the cost for agencies. Not even about half the cost of what we pay our caregivers. So that's a difficult part. A lot of seniors think Medicare, Medicaid is going to cover that, and they just don't. I think I may have heard of one company. I don't even remember the name. It was when I first started. But I would say 99% don't accept any kind of payment that way. It's typically long-term care insurance, private pay, and then there's some life insurance policies that have death benefits that can be utilized for care. But like Wendy was saying, each policy is different. Yeah, I would give Wendy a call. If you have any questions about that, call Wendy, and she can give you a lot of really good information and have that one-to-one. So I think I've probably gone over, but I will be in the back. I'm going to introduce one more question. Miss.
I probably know the answer to this, but I think it's important for everyone. What kind of background checks do caregivers have to undergo?
Yeah, so they go through the state and federal background checks, all caregivers, but also drug screening. So that's whenever you're working with any company, ensure that they're also doing that. Because obviously in the state, certain things are legal, and we don't want our caregivers utilizing those substances when they're addressing our clients, because safety is number one. So I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.